Hi everyone, and welcome to the first video in my Gracious Wife series. Today I'd like to have a little sit down and I'd like to talk about my book, The Gracious Wife, and basically give you a little bit of an overview of what to expect in the upcoming videos. If you don't have a copy of The Gracious Wife, you can go ahead and click the link below and head on over to Amazon and grab your own copy. Okay? Let's get started. The Gracious Wife, being her husband's crown. It was born as the result of my own marriage woes and my drive to become a better wife. Not only for me, but also for God. I wanted a marriage to better serve my husband by allowing God to be at the center. In 2012, whenever I took my vows, I really didn't take into account what exactly marriage entailed. You know, I had certain expectations, such as the laundry, doing dishes, taking care of the kids and whatnot. But I didn't think of God being in my marriage. I believe that marriage without God at the center is a marriage that's not going to thrive to the best of its ability. We need God's guidance. We need His grace. We need His direction. And this will obtain the marriage that we've always dreamed of. The one that we, as little girls, always hoped to have. And when we give it all over to God, including our marriage, we open the doors to work, for God to work miracles in our lives. Okay, so I invite you to join me in becoming a gracious wife who strives to please God, so that our husbands can have the best of us yet. So come join me. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about pre-marriage. My husband and I were engaged for about 7 years, and we finally tied the knot. I wasn't ever satisfied though, and it seemed as if we were on this repeat cycle where the same thing constantly occurred over and over and over. It was the same fight. Till one night, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I needed to be still. I needed to move back and give God room. I was in His way. I was blocking Him of doing what He needed to do for my husband. My nagging and complaints made it hard for my husband to hear the Lord's just still and gentle whisper. I remember there being times where I just wanted my husband to be a certain way, or to do things a certain way, and just to be a certain way. But the thing about it is that's not how it works. We don't marry each other and then automatically we conform to this ideal husband and wife that we've had in our heads. So that's when I started to research for The Gracious Wife. I talked to women in my church, I talked to friends and family, I talked to the pastor and his wife, I read blogs, I read books, I watched videos on YouTube. I did everything that I most possibly could for this book, for research. Eventually, I unloaded my heart and all of the unhappiness that I had into a journal each night, which is where some of the information came from for this book. And I unloaded into this journal instead of unloading onto my husband, which seemed to be one of his biggest complaints, is that all I did was complain about what he did or didn't do. So I'm no longer complaining and whining in his ear, and I'm unloading on God. I am putting all this stuff in this journal. I did it for months. At first, I was like, what am I doing this for? Well, partly to save my marriage, because my husband was tired of hearing my whining. And then it also gave my husband this view that regardless of what he tried to do, regardless of what he was doing in our marriage and in our lives to try on his end to better it, I was still over here complaining about what he was and wasn't doing. So I switched it up went to this journal, cried out to God, and after a while, I started seeing things happen. My husband was changing for the better. He was actually becoming this husband that I had been trying to force him to conform to be. Now, 6 years into our marriage, 6 years into our marriage, and I seen positive change. Now, this is after months, and this is after almost about a year of doing nothing but writing every night, every complaint, every heartache, everything, every single thing into this journal is a prayer to God. Anytime I had a complaint, it went in that journal. Praise went in that journal. Everything went into that journal. Now, the more changes, the positive changes that I saw, the more praises I gave to God. However, when things came up short and the things that really was close to my heart wasn't occurring, I got down on my knees and I prayed harder. I prayed harder than I had ever prayed in my life. Now, I'm sharing this with you because I want to say that because of God's help and His mercy and His love, my marriage is now what I have always dreamt it to be. The problems of the past are no longer problems. Instead of whining and complaining with my husband, we laugh, we joke, we have fun. Our marriage is filled with joy. I can honestly say that I cannot remember our last fight. You know, the kind of fights where he ends up sleeping, on the couch behind me, or driving off in anger just to take some time to himself. I cannot remember the last time that happened. Yet, I owe this all to God. God opened my eyes. He laid it on my heart to put this book together. And I pray that the pages and the chapters within this book, within this journey that I briefly share with you about how my husband and I became happy. We are living, and I'm not bragging, please don't take it that way. I am living the marriage that I had always wanted because of God. I give God the glory for the happiness, the joy, the compassion, and most of all, the love within my marriage. It's all because of God. I pray this book helps you as it helped me when I was writing and researching it. So, stay tuned for Chapter 1's discussion on marriage and the Bible. This is where I'll be sharing more insights and notes to the creation of this part of the book. So I thank you for listening and thank you for joining in with me. If you haven't subscribed to me, go ahead and click the little button below. There's still going to be more videos to come. Any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love to hear from you guys. Okay? So, until next time, have a great day and God bless.